You are 38, better looking in 10 years' time?
Yeah.
Into the mic, please. 20 years' time at 58.
Interesting question, because when I was at 20, I thought that, oh my gosh, I'm so beautiful. But now when I saw the pictures with the blue eyeshadows, with the plus 10 kilograms, I said, oh my gosh, it's so much difference between 20 years ago and now. But now I feel, yeah, I'm better.
Okay, you said because of the blue makeup, the blue eyeshadow?
Yeah, it was 20
okay,
years
let me
ago.
make it simple. If you had if you had been wearing the blue makeup when you were 20 years old, would you be more attractive at 20?
But that's what she was wearing at 20 years old, blue makeup.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mean, it's a blue eyeshadow. I mean, no, it's not a blue.
It wasn't
attractive.
She didn't like the blue eyeshadow. Like when we look at pictures of us on MySpace and stuff,
the
and we looked crazy.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
no. Okay, hold on. So you're 38 currently. Okay. Will you be more attractive in 10 years' time at 48?
48. We'll see.
Okay, so then
what do
the
you
question
think,
you got, I don't know how this miscommunication occurred. I then asked, in 20 years' time, not when you were 20, in 20 years from now, when you're 58, will you be more attractive then?
I think no.
Okay, but you will be more attractive at 48.
No.
So you're more attractive now at 38.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's go back in time. You're 38. Were you more attractive 10 years ago at 28?
No.
And then 20 years' time, were you more attractive at 18 than you are now at 38?
No.
And then between 18 and 28,
you weren't more attractive at 18 than 38?
Yeah, I told you why.
Because of blue eyeshadow?
I was plus 10 kilograms. I don't know what I want, who I am, and when I was at 18, I thought, yeah, I'm beautiful. But now, when I saw the pictures,
Yeah, 10 kilograms is 22.
I think I'd
pounds.
rather.
So you were 40
because
pounds
you're
heavier?
like a kids, like a, I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. You're like a, like a baby face, yeah. And 20 years ago, so I look like really like a with a baby.
I think I would still say even like a girl who's chubby at 20, like a little chubby at 20, is going to be more attractive than her like super fitness 40-year-old self. Hot take there.
Based on whose judgment? Yours or hers?
Fine.
So we would be looking at it through commonality. So yeah, I agree. It would be subjective to a degree. But we would just look at a consensus of agreement. So we just say, what would be the consensus of the most, like if we had 10 men here, would 8 of them agree with us? Right? That's the only way we can really kind of measure that type of judgment, right? It's just based on the consensus of what most people intuitively think about it. So that's how attraction works. So I do think that Brian's likely right that most men would take a woman who was 21, 22, 23, 24, who had a couple extra pounds on her. I'm not saying heavy, but she had a couple extra pounds, versus a woman who was her fit self at 40. I think that they would.
So then it is based on their opinion, based on how men judge women. But you're asking what is her opinion.
Who are you trying to be attractive for?
Yeah, but you're asking what is her opinion.
Hang on, I'm sorry. Are you trying to get women to marry themselves?
But you're asking
I'm asking you a question.
How we
Hang
feel
on.
about
Are you
us.
trying to ask a woman to marry themselves?
No.
No. Who do you want them to marry? Men.
Then we
So
should
if you want them to marry men, whose value judgment are we going to use here if you want them to marry men, not
so
theirs?
then the question needs to be organized in that way. Based on man's opinion, do you think you were 18, prettier when you were 18?
I think it's kind of primal too, right? Because that's like peak reproductive years for a woman.
Of course.
So like a man's more attracted to.
Of course. Yeah, why would that not be the case? If you're in your prime reproductive years, that's when you're going to see the highest amount of attraction. Of course, that's the reason that when men and women are reporting this, their attractive levels, right? Women will often say, look, I like a man around my own age, or this kind of thing. When it's asked to men, almost all of them say, yeah, I prefer a woman in their early 20s. Right? I prefer a woman in their early 20s because for us, what we would find attractive, of course, would be women who are in their reproductive years. Why wouldn't we find that to be the most attractive?
Well, usually what people get surgery for, it's like when you look more youthful.
Yeah, they want to look younger. You want to look
surgery,
like you're in those reproductive years.
You literally get fillers and stuff like that to look more younger.
Yeah.
And then like when you get older, you kind of deflate and you look more, your skin saggy and stuff like that. So that's why 18, 19, 20
But I mean,
is
to your question, right? If we're asking a woman about her physical beauty, right? Saying, how do you judge yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 for your physical beauty? How are they going to judge that absent the eye of men? That's what I want to know. How could that even be assessed absent the observer? How could you even assess that other than the comparison of the opposite sex? The reason I know that I'm not good looking is because plenty of women tell me, right? So it's like, but how else would I know?
Maybe like beauty standards, right? Like models, like magazines, whatever, the internet, social media. I feel like it can be based on that too, right?
Yeah,
A little bit.
well, but that's the same thing. You're looking at what the opposite sex is viewing as what is beautiful and what is not. I don't ever see women going, well, I know that men find this repulsive and that's why I do it, right? They don't do that. They do the opposite. They're like, this gives me the most amount of male attention, so I do that. Which makes total sense to me, but I don't actually know how you can judge your own beauty standard absent the eye of the opposite sex. I honestly don't know how.
I think it's from like even like our own standards, even like growing up, like watching like Disney princesses and stuff like that, looking at what beauty is. So now
Beauty to who?
Beauty to little girls, or what we see. It's
Yeah,
like
what
that.
you see the prince wants?
Actually, I feel like every day us waking up, what we see, like I feel like when everybody wakes up, like we look skinnier, our stomachs flatter. Everybody.
Yeah, but why are you comparing those as beauty standards if it's a subjective metric?
I don't think it's also like necessarily like depending on what men want. I think it's kind of like women like to feel pretty. Like I feel like if
Feel pretty for who?
Ourselves. It's both. It can be ourselves.
So you want other women to think you're hot?
No, me. I like to think that I'm pretty. Like when I wake up, if my skin's breaking out, if I feel like I'm gaining weight, if I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. But I think that the reason that you would say that, okay, so like let's pretend that you're marooned on a desert island and nobody can see you, right? Why do you give a shit at that point if your hair isn't fresh and you're there? You don't care, right? What would be the point? Care. What would be the point of caring?
People sometimes, a lot of people are vain. Like my mother says this quote: "The more prettier you are, the more it hurts when it's gone." If you constantly look at yourself in the mirror and you feel like your looks is your strong suit, you literally
because you think other people are judging the looks. That's where vanity comes from. Vanity would come from the idea that I'm pretty and you know I'm pretty, right? Because you know I'm pretty, I can do X thing, right? I get this attention. Otherwise, what would be the vanity? The vanity comes from, oh, I have this thing that you want, right? And so it builds me up. It builds my confidence up, right? So you could be like a vain guitar player because you're the best in the world, or you could be vain with all sorts of different things. The question becomes, though, is like, what builds that vanity up? I think that the idea that you can judge beauty standards, assess your own beauty standards, absent the idea of what the opposite sex thinks is just absurd. I don't know where you'd get the standard from.
Well, I feel like if, like, let's say men didn't exist and it was just women, and I think that psychologically we would start to notice, like, who's healthy and who's just, like, you know, like doing life right, and we would start to like look at them.
Do you think you guys would get
like,
fake boobs for each other?
No,
no,
I do not think so. But
I don't think so either.
Like, as far as like a beauty standard, we would start to like look at certain people who seem to really be thriving and like healthy, and we would want that for ourselves.
Is that even a beauty standard at that point, or is that just a health standard or some other standard that we're applying? We're talking about beauty.
Okay. I suppose I get what you mean. Like if there was never men to like look pretty for, why would we want to look?
When you
pretty?
assess what is beautiful, right? Isn't it the woman who the men are paying attention to?
Yeah. I guess that's true.
I mean, that's how else do you assess it? And
I just think whatever you think that is pretty in your standard, like if we look at girls with huge noses,
I agree,
that's not pretty.
But here, let's find some common ground. Sure, it's whatever you think within your standard. I'm just asking what informs the standard.
Shit.
I feel like it matters.
Yeah, like honestly, what informs the standard?
I'm just assuming, I don't know, this is kind of how like
You just inform yourself?
I'm looking at what I see, like I'm saying on TV, what you see on TV, what you see,
so you're seeing
what you think is pretty.
Yeah,
and I feel
so
like what is pretty,
what
everybody knows that's pretty. Thin.
Yeah, so you have an informed standard based on what you see, the male attention getting on TV?
I can't say it's necessarily for men, though, because I still feel like I have to make sure.
What makes a Disney princess pretty?
Small waist, pretty hair, big, nice lips.
What makes that pretty?
I am not even sure.
She got a dream life.
It's
with
like
the prince.
It's because the prince who shows up is buff as shit, and you know, he kisses Sleeping Beauty, and she gets the kingdom. That's what makes her pretty, right? I mean, how else do you inform it? So, I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
Well, I'm saying if, like you said, on a desert island by
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
If I'm actually like in like scarves and like rags and stuff, it's like if my body's looking slim and I'm looking good, I'm like, oh, I look good. Like,
Yeah, but
damn, it sucks I'm not with nobody right now, but fuck, I
But
look
that's
good.
based on preconceived notions already poisoned well, right? That have already informed your beauty standards. So let's take it instead. Say you're on the desert island, you've never seen another woman. What would inform them?
I guess I'm not even sure. I'm saying like it's embedded in us. So whatever I guess it
Well,
is.
then now it's universal. So now we can judge 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everybody
okay.
judges.
All right.
Hell yeah.
All right. Yeah,
I
you take it.
judge.
It's fine.
Want a slim waist if I'm stranded on an island.
Well, you're gonna get one.
Oh yeah. Look, sexy. A win is a win.
Just getting answers from everybody. So you are 20, better looking in 10 years' time at 30?
I say yes.
20 years' time at 40?
No.
Okay. And then you are 38. Do you think you'll be better looking in 10 years at 48 versus now at 38?
No.
Okay, and you're 38. Were you better looking 10 years ago at 28?
Yes.
And then 20 years ago at 18?
No.
So 28 was like peak for you would say?
I would say right now.
Wait, so you're better looking now at 38 than you were at 18?
Yeah.
You are the best in the moment.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on in Russia, huh?
Yeah.
A lot of
Which of that?
really ugly 18-year-olds who bloom into beautiful flowers at 40.
You have no idea what is going on in Russia for the young women. All of these words that you guys not supposed to be talking about is going on. You walk on the
Oh
street.
no, I agree. There's tons
So
of
there is-
those poor women in the Ukraine who they don't have their men because they're out fighting on the front lines to make sure that they stay free of Russian
Well, it
occupation.
is. You see, we are kind of
Those poor
the
girls.
generation.
I feel terrible for them.
Andrew, so we are the generation that we were born, and we were in our teenage years when mafia was ruling everything. Police couldn't do anything. So you walk on the street
I'm sorry, but what does that have to do with the
with how we
conversation?
feel as women.
They're
No,
talking
but
about the looks.
Andrew was making a point about, man, all these women, Russian women who are actually have reputations for being more attractive than their Western counterparts. They're ugly at 18, but then they glow up at 40.
We come to United States where you men make us actually feeling better about ourselves.
So it's cope. It's pure cope.
Over there, 7 women to 1 guy. We have to compete.
So we're back to how we feel about it again.
No,
So
I have a thing. Imagine like you took a photo. Like I have just photos laid out. You know nothing about them. You don't know the history of what they've been through.
Based on the
Yeah.
picture?
If it was just a picture of you, like you don't know anything.
Of
It was-
me?
yes, versus now. Like you're a different person.
That's a good question.
I remember some of the pictures
Well,
from
just
that
think
time
if
of
I laid them
myself,
out.
and if you ask my opinion,
Yeah.
I don't think I look better back then.
Cool.
My opinion. How others, men, we had to hide quite a
Do we
bit.
have the
okay, hang on. Let me just ask you.
age?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this
Okay, we'll wait.
instead. How old did you say you are?
46.
You're 46.
We'll be 46 on 31st.
Raise
of
your
October.
hands. Raise your hands right now if you're younger than 46.
Oh, younger.
Okay. Are you prettier than any of the women who just raised their hands?
I will not be judging. Based on personality, am I prettier?
No, physically,
No,
physical attraction only.
No,
No.
no.
But we're expected to believe that if you were sitting in their chair at the same age that they are, that somehow you would be more attractive right this second than you would be at their age right now. So out of this entire sample size, you were the ugly duckling at their same age?
Oh, Andrew, you're speaking so fast. Oh my God. Okay.
All right, well, let me back it up. I'll make it really slow.
Let's do it.
Okay? They're all younger than you, right?
Yeah.
Are they all prettier than you? Physically?
I will not be judging based on a physical look.
Then why'd you look around?
Feeling their energy.
Okay.
Every one of them is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
every
right.
one of them in
Yeah.
their own
So I'm
way.
gonna ask you this-
Absolutely.
I'm gonna
Based
ask
on
you
our
this-
energy.
So I'm going to ask you this question again, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can get an answer.
Okay, let's try.
Physically, purely based on physical character. I don't give a shit about their emotional energy or how great they felt this morning when they ate their Cheerios. I don't
Right.
care about any of that.
But I do.
Just physically how they look. Are any of them less attractive than you?
Less attractive than me? I don't know.
Physically. Only
I
physically.
can only give you a description like who has
Okay, let me ask it a
bigger
different way.
breasts,
It-
who has longer hair.
You started this conversation. Let me
Sure.
start it this way. Okay.
Can I
So I'm
speak as a
Hang
matchmaker?
on, hang on.
So, for
hang
example,
on,
as a
hang on. No,
matchmaker.
no. I'm going to get an answer before we get into this.
Okay, let's
All right,
try.
let me try it this way. You started this conversation by saying that there's tons of men who watch porn, right?
In the United States, yes.
Okay.
Well,
Do you think, based on that knowledge, that more men would rather watch porn that starred these women or you?
that men would rather watch corn.
That starred these women or you?
I do not care because what matters for me is the opinion of my husband. Oh my goodness. What are you trying to...
I'm just asking a super basic question. Do you think, right, that since you think that tons and tons of men watch porn, you've obviously studied that
Oh
phenomenon.
yeah? Okay, yes.
You've obviously studied that phenomenon.
They will choose any one of them, yes, rather than me. Absolutely.
Well, then, how does that not tell me that men would find all of the women here
Who are younger?
who are not you more attractive than you?
And that's what I said. Every one of them is better looking than me.
Okay, great.
That's what I
Then
said.
why should I have the expectation that at their same age, that you wouldn't have been more attractive then than you are now?
How? Okay.
That's what I don't get.
Every one of them is young and beautiful.
Right.
And fantastic. And everyone has a potential to be a wonderful wife.
All right, Brian.
I'll move on.